So my name is John Yamauchi, and I'm a fourth-year biomedical science graduate student at the Socrates Fellow of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences at UC San Diego. And my advisor is Dr. Palmer Taylor. Our research focuses on understanding the structure of nicotinic acetylcholine receptors to develop compounds specific for them so we can treat schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, as well as smoking addiction. So as an undergraduate, I did my bioengineering degree here at UC San Diego as well, but I did research in the pharmacology department on enzymes and their inhibition and their methods of competitive and non-competitive inhibition, and that got me interested in how to develop pharmaceuticals and therapeutics to treat diseases. The first activity that I developed was called the enzyme 3D structure and function activity. And in this activity, students actually got to learn about how an enzyme functions by being the enzyme. And so they would hold hands and they would be part of this enzyme complex. And I would have 3 students be the active site. And each student would have a tool so that they could do a job. And in this case, the job was to unscrew a bolt from a piece of wood. And so one student got a socket wrench, one student got the wood with the bolt in it, and then one student had the other socket part for the wrench. And I said, your job is to take the bolt out of the wood and give it to me. And so they would stand there and they'd have to figure out, okay, how am I going to do this? Well, one student would hand the socket to the other student with the wrench and he'd put it on, and then the other student would hold it and he'd unscrew it and take it out. So the 3 worked together to do that, and that was their job. Then I had them do it again. And I showed them that as a catalyst, like an enzyme, you do your job multiple times. By far, my favorite part was actually getting the kids entertained and engaged and just inspired to want to learn, to say this is fun and I can understand it, and seeing a smile on their face and actually saying, John, you have to come back and you have to bring us more, cool science stuff. That was my favorite part, was actually getting the high school students excited about science. You can really teach a lot of concepts to students even at the high school level. Most of these things we're doing are taught to the college level students, but you can develop activities that are very simple and incorporate inquiry that can help the students. And I didn't realize that you could bring some of these complicated things down to that level so soon. The second activity I did was a sea urchin development lab. And so what we did there was I showed them how cells develop by actually extracting sperm and eggs from sea urchins. And we brought in live sea urchins from Amro Hamdoun's lab at SIO, and his 2 students, Joseph Campanelli and Lauren Shipp, helped me put together this activity by bringing the urchins to the school, giving a presentation on background about sea urchins and why they use them. They study them to study transporters that are important during development. And so they fertilize these urchins all the time. And so what we did was we extracted the sperm and eggs and then let the students watch it on a light microscope, the fertilization occurring. You can actually see a halo form, a protein envelope form once an egg is fertilized. And then if you let that keep developing, you can see different stages of cell development. So the embryo will divide into 2 cells, and then 4 cells, and then 8, and keep going. And the students can actually watch the different stages of development. Every student in the classroom was at a microscope the whole time. I mean, even after the bell rang, they were still looking at the microscope and saying, John, you have to check this out. You have to look at this, embryo. You have to look at this, this organism that we found. And I was like, wow, you guys are really into this, right? And they said, this was the coolest thing we've done. There'd be multiple reasons I would want to convince another graduate student to participate in the program. You just have fun. I mean, working with the students, you'll have a lot of fun. The teachers all have a lot of great energy, and the fact that they're involved in a program like this speaks to how they are as a teacher, that outgoing. They're probably some of the best teachers that we have out there. So there's a lot of reasons to join as a Socrates Fellow.